Hi everyone. Can you believe where we are so close to the end of the year? We are moving towards the very last new moon of 2025. We're about to close the year of the hermit. We still got a little more time for the year of the snake, but we are really in that festival of lights time. Whatever celebrations you're doing for yourself or for your lineages, I hope that you're finding some race to the quiet. I hope there'll be some kind of break for you, some kind of rest, and some kind of recharge. So, if you, like me, are still in it this week, kind of pushing towards, that's where we are. That's all right. But I'm hoping that this offering will serve as a how do we make it through what's going on cosmically as we move towards Friday's new moon in Sag, the last new moon of the year, and also the solstice, winter solstice, longest night, shortest day. Here we are. Take a moment before we get started just to arrive. Just maybe a little stretch, maybe taking a moment to breathe, maybe for a moment if you've got a lot of things going on up here, just letting that melt away. And just carving out a little time for yourself, a little time for checking in. How am I doing? How am I sleeping? How am I in drinking water, in movement? And maybe getting a sense, not just the body that's holding all of our organs, our blood, our nervous system, but the bubble around that, the sphere of energy that we each live in. Maybe for a moment, get a sense, even a visual of your own bubble. What is the container of your own energy? How is that feeling? Can you pull that a little closer to you for a moment? Can you flood that with a color, with a sense? And can you push out other people's energy, worries that you don't need in this moment, tasks, to do's, future, the past? And just be present for a moment here. And maybe you send a couple of roots down. Maybe you feel a little bit of a drop into the support from below. Maybe bring in a little bit from the top. All right. So today's reading, I'm going to work with here Megan Watterson's Divine Femme. I pre-pulled for us very appropriately Our Lady of Guadalupe. I mean, of one of the holidays that we are moving towards is Christmas, and we do live in, I say, Christian flavored government. There's a lot of commercial version of Christmas, but one core of it, this is time for the mother, in whatever way. Um, so I'm going to read this soul card, allow whatever comes up that might resonate. This is a time when many of us are preparing to see or talk to our families or lack thereof, and thinking of whatever barriers there are. This can be maybe connections to those who raised us, and also a little bit about our own mothering. Like, how are we mothering? How are we tending to, caring for the little version of us that might have a lot more needs as we move towards the holiday season? Sending all of that. Our Lady of Guadalupe, Empress of Protection. I am safe and divinely protective. I am held in love at all times. What would it mean to spend, as we move towards the end of the year, feeling that the bubble that surrounds you energetically is love holding you at all times? Our Lady of Guadalupe is the emblazoned emblem of the uniquely powerful protection of a mother's love. Her image has appeared in Mexico City, and read all of these parts, but I think I'm going to read a bit about when your soul selects her card. That's where we are. What is outside of us is also within us. Even if we have never experienced a mother's love, the true force of that loving protection exists within us. So we can give it to ourselves. When Saint Juan Diego was concerned that the Archbishop would not believe him and was racing to meet Our Lady of Guadalupe, she appeared suddenly and said the most beloved phrase in the apparition story: am I not here, I who am your mother? The energy of a mother's love can travel to meet you anywhere, whether within the world or within your heart. The message is that she is here. You are mothered. You are cared for. You are nurtured. We are ennobled with free will. The divine needs our request for assistance in order to enter our lives. I'm going to read that one more. The divine needs our request for assistance in order to enter our lives. As we think about, as we enter the end of this year, what are the things and burdens that maybe you've been carrying? What are the setbacks and frustrations that you're, much like the 10 of Wands, that person who's just holding all the sticks, going, going, going. In what ways are you holding all the things that maybe you could ask for, could lay down and say, divine mothers, divine feminine energy, divine whatever it is, cosmic forces, ancestors, lineage, cosmos, I'm asking for support. Love is always the greatest and most powerful energy of protection. And I do believe that. I'm one of the people that thinks that Jesus Christ was a light worker who is just the pure love light that came in a human form. And that doesn't have anything to do with the Christian faiths that have been built around him. And this idea of mother and the nurturing, maybe these are some themes that you can play with as we end this year, as we move towards, again, solstice, which is the longest night. The soul meditation is, do I experience the love of a divine mother within me? The intention is, I am safe and divinely protected. I am held in love at all times. What is the nurturing that might be useful to you at this time? All right, so I'm going to talk about astrology now. Thanks for bearing with that. And if you are doing something for solstice, or you have any Yule or solstice or festivals of light practices you want to share, please let me know. I'm very big. House of Our Queer is, celebrating your own holidays your way. So whatever rituals or traditions you have, to have some of the light, to have some of the cheer and joy, to be a little generous in your giving, to nurture yourself and little you and your community. Those are some of my favorite ways to celebrate this time. In astrology, what this looks like is we are moving towards, on Friday, our very last new moon of this Gregorian calendar. It's going to be a new moon in Sag that comes on the 19th at 5:43 p.m. Pacific time. So it'll be here in the afternoon, evening on the more close to night on the East Coast. And this is the close for the year of the Hermit. So there's some nice juxtaposition where we are in Sag season, we are in fire time. They give us, as we move towards, the light, we are in fire even though it's winter. So Sag is movement, Sag is spontaneous. And now we have the moon moving into the sun season as well. So as we're preparing to reflect, this has been, again, Hermit year 2025, a year of reflection, or a year of cutting out the unnecessary, the ties of holding up the lantern and seeing and looking and really focusing just on what we really need. This is a kind of final moment of a burst of a wanting to break through, getting us ready for 2026, the wheel of fortune, the wheel of change. So this is a moment for seed planting, new moons. A little bit of the moon is just peeking out, releasing with a dark moon, having a moment with a new moon to plant a couple of seeds that can grow as the year really ends. This new moon in Sag is here to remind us that we are not stuck. And again, similar to what I was saying in the reading of, are there ways that we're holding our burdens and not asking for help in the ways that our guides are like, hey, would love to swoop down here, would love to pull some strings for you. And we're like, it's good. I got this. I'm just going to put my head down and keep doing what I'm doing. A Sag is very not like that. This new moon in Sag and the Sag energy before we get into Capricorn, which is a little more head down. We have this burst moment with the new moon on Friday to look up, to just move, to be impulsive, to make things happen. Sag is often considered a lucky sign because they're not in their head. They're just going for it. They're just open to opportunities. So that is the encouragement that we, as we move towards this week, especially on Friday, are kind of cosmically encouraged to think about. So some of the reflection questions I have for us is to reflect on the year, thinking, what have we learned about ourselves in this year of the Hermit? Where in your life are you feeling stuck? Is there one area, whether that's love or home or health or career and finances, where might you are feeling stuck? And what would it mean if you let this new moon in Sag light a little bit of a fire in that area? If you just pressed send, if you just accepted the job, if you put in your resignation, if you ask that person for coffee, what would it look like to be more afraid of feeling stuck than of moving forward? What feelings, limiting thoughts, or outdated connections could you burn up and leave behind in 2025? Here we are, still in a society, no matter what. Here we are 5 years after 2020. This world is continuing. You and I are continuing. Community is continuing regardless. And so what does it mean to leave things behind, to not continue and take things into the next year? The mantra for this is, what if it all works out? How do we put I say often with Sag, put our best case scenario glasses on to look at the challenges that we're having? What if it works out? What if it is the best case? That's the cosmic thing that we are encouraged to do. And I'll say, if you are someone who is feeling the holiday dreads, some family stuff, some consumerism stuff, whatever it is that is pinning you about the holidays, if something is, this is a great moment before we get into it to relook at that and remember that you're not stuck. My holiday general advice is, look at the things that you're doing around this holiday season as we end the year. And if it is not working, you can change it. We do not have to go home to anywhere if it is not safe. We don't have to do gift giving if gift giving is not fun and is creating stress and drain. We can reshift that. And I have a blog that you can find on my website that is how to re-queer up the holiday season with a lot of different tips and advice. So if you're looking for that, happy to share that. But really thinking about this, Sag encourages us to think, okay, how am I feeling stuck? And what if I just did it differently? How do I burn through the expectations that I do things the same if it is not working? I do have a ritual with that in mind for folks that want to find that on my Patreon, of how to get unstuck, of how to block if things that are keeping us from our own success. But soon I'll be sharing for everyone. I have all of these reflection questions, information about the new moon, and a tarot spread that's coming up. Those are the offerings for Queer Church this week. Before we close with Tarot Salon, let's just let our minds go for a moment. Let our minds rest. That's a lot of information to think about. Here you are, carving a lot of time for some spiritual considerations, some energy shifts. So let's make sure we leave you with a little bit of an energy shift and just let that float away. Whatever stuck, let it stick. If it's feeling heightened, let's just send a cool stream down our nervous systems and let that go. And take a moment to fill yourself up, maybe with some pink light, some divine love, maybe a little rose quartz spinning around our heart space. This time, as we are cold and moving into the winter and the darkness, we're also encouraged to find our light, to be our light, to light each other up. So maybe create a little bit of fire inside, maybe underneath your rib cage here. And just light that up. That's also the space in our bodies for our intuition, for our self-resilience. You've got this. You've got you. You've got you all the way to this point. Look at you, still being here, still wanting to keep your spirit open. It's so beautiful. Turn that fire on. Let it light up, maybe even all the way to the top of your head. Just burn, feel that warmth. Feel yourself being your own light. And feel it burning and melting away any stress in your mind, behind your eyes, behind your jaw. Melting away anything caught in your throat, any drafts that you don't need, that didn't get sent. Let's clear those out. And send the fire all the way. All right, and anything melting can just float back to the earth. So, thank you for carving out this time. Hope you're finding these offerings helpful. And let's send our attention here. What do we need to hear? Just like I mentioned at the beginning, 10 of Wands. So I was giving this imagery at the beginning. If you're feeling like you're holding all the things, trying to get everything done before the end of the year, yes, we are in fire, transition, and change, but you don't need to do it alone. There is community. There are resources and practices you can get from now to the next year without all the things. If you are feeling whatever these things you're holding, obligations, things you have to do, things you have to buy, things you have to say, places you have to go, work you have to get done. Ooh, just remember, you can look up and see who is around to support, and we can ask. Just asking the cosmos, asking our ancestors, asking whoever you think of as, whatever you think of as support, universal nature support. Help me with this. What would that be like? What would that look like? Me and the cards want to know. Sending you so much joy, hoping that there's even a little bit of lightness after this connection, and sending you all the joy as we move towards our Sag movement, new moon on Friday.